Hey there everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to build a mash tun. And this is a big part of going all grain. And the mash tun is really the main vessel that separates all grain from extract because that's where we do our mash. So you can either buy a mash tun or build one. I really recommend building one. You can save a lot of money compared to buying one. It's rewarding and it's really not that hard to make, as you'll see. So here's how you do it. Okay, I'll give you a parts list that tells you every single item you need to build this thing, but in general there are three main components. There's the cooler, and this is the vessel that we use for performing our mash. And this is a 10-gallon Rubbermaid cooler. I got it from Home Depot for about $40, but you can get it from other places like Lowe's and Kmart carries them. It works really well as a mash tun. It's commonly used in home brewing, and it holds the temperature really well. Then we have the filter, and this is used to separate the grain from the sweet wort. So this is a stainless steel supply hose. It's used on faucets. You can get it in the plumbing section at Ace Hardware, Home Depot, or Lowe's. And I'm going to show you how to build this thing using two different filters actually, because both of these are commonly used in home brewing setups. So I figure why not show you how to build it using both. So the second one is called a bazooka screen or kettle screen. It's a homebrewing specific item. Any homebrew shop sells it, and it works really well as a filter in a mash tun. Then we have the bulkhead, and this includes the valve like this, and then all the components, and there's a few of them that are used to connect the valve to the filters. So I'll show you what all those are and how to piece it together. Okay, I'm going to start out showing you how to build this using the faucet hose, and then I'll make a couple of changes and show you how to connect the bazooka screen. But our first step is going to be to prepare the faucet hose because it's not ready to go just like this. I'm going to cut off the ends using a hacksaw. You could also use an angle grinder, something like that. And then I'm going to pull out the inside tube, seal up one of the ends with the plug, and then the other end is going to connect to the bulkhead. You can see there's a tube inside the stainless steel, and we're going to pull that out. This is a little tricky, but the key is to grab the stainless with needle nose pliers and then push it off. Don't pull it off. Next, we're going to seal up one end with a hex plug. I used 1/2 inch, but it was a little bit too big, so I recommend 3/8. And then fasten a hose clamp on there to make sure the plug doesn't move. Now we're going to put a 3/8 female hose barb onto the other end of the supply hose. We're going to use a female and a male in this project. The male will go onto the valve. Tighten a hose clamp onto the barb, and this is what it looks like. Now remove the valve from the cooler by twisting it while you hold the fitting on the inside. There's a gasket that goes through the wall of the cooler. You can leave this in because you're going to reuse it, but I'm going to take it out just to show you what it looks like. And here are the three pieces to the cooler. You're going to reuse the rubber gasket, but not use the other two pieces. We're going to use a 3/8 1.5 inch long brass nipple to go through the cooler wall. Go ahead and wrap it in Teflon tape. Go ahead and put it through the rubber gasket. Just a warning, it's a very tight fit, and I even lost a little Teflon. Now we're going to use 5/8 inner diameter stainless steel washers. These are pretty hard to find, so if you have that problem, look in the metric section and get the 16M washers. That's what I used and they work fine. Put one washer on the nipple on the inside of the cooler. Then attach the stainless steel supply hose to the nipple. Then we're going to add a 5/8 inner diameter O-ring to the outside of the nipple. This isn't as hard to find as the washers. I got it at Ace Hardware. Go ahead and add it to the nipple. Now add as many washers as you can fit onto the nipple while still being able to attach the valve. I added 2 at first, but was eventually able to get 3 on there. Then attach a 3/8 ball valve to the nipple. Then to the ball valve, attach a 3/8 male hose barb wrapped in Teflon tape. Now it's time to test it out. Fill up the cooler with water, drain some out to make sure that works, and then let it sit for a little while to make sure there are no leaks. So if you're doing this with a bazooka screen, it's the exact same except for a couple of parts. You'll notice that the end has a male fitting instead of female, so go ahead and wrap the nipple in Teflon tape. The nipple on my bazooka screen is 1/2 inch, so I'm going to use a 1/2 inch to 3/8 reducing coupling to attach it to the nipple going through the wall of the cooler. If the nipple on your bazooka screen is 3/8, then you don't need a reducer. Use the coupling to attach the two nipples. If your bazooka screen is too long to fit in the cooler, just crimp the end like I did with a pair of pliers. Okay, our mash tun is complete. That's really all there is to it. Like I said, it's not that hard. Really the hardest part is just going out and getting the equipment, but putting it together takes 20 minutes tops. So this thing works great. I've used this configuration tons of times in brewing. It's fantastic. It's got the lid that you can leave on while mashing, so it does a really good job of keeping the heat in, and you only lose a couple degrees per hour when mashing. So give this a shot if you're trying to get into all grain and you want to build a mash tun. You can make this whole thing for about $75 depending on what prices are at the time that you're doing it. But it's really a cheaper way than buying it from a retailer, and it's pretty fun to make as well. So hope that helps.